Encouraging active participation for disabled women.
I'm Nuala Toman, Head of Innovation and Impact at Disability Action.
Reflecting back, how has disability action played a critical role in shaping gender equality in Northern Ireland?
Disability Action is the largest pan-disability organisation in both the UK and Ireland, and we adopt a human rights-based framework. And in doing so, that puts women at the heart of decision making and activism. Because when we think about disability and disabled people, disabled women face compound disadvantage. In order to address gender inequality, we have prioritised increasing women's representation within employment, ending violence against women and girls, and increasing disabled women's representation in decision making. For example, the majority of our employees are disabled women, and we have several active programs called Empower and Workable, which are aimed at getting disabled people into employment. And through that work, we have significantly increased the proportion of disabled women employed across the region. We are working to close the disability gender pay gap. Alongside that, we have worked to increase women's participation in decision making by involving disabled women in the United Nations reporting mechanisms. We've placed disabled women at the heart of that process, and women went to Geneva last year and articulated the challenges facing disabled people across the region, provided evidence, and secured a recommendation from the committee that the executive and the Westminster government have severely breached the rights of disabled people. And I think it is really empowering that that was secured by the voices of disabled women. We have also worked to end violence against women and girls. This is an extremely challenging area, particularly as disabled women are twice as likely to be abused and exploited than non-disabled women. We have a real challenge at the minute in terms of paramilitary exploitation of disabled women and girls who have been targeted at food banks, exploited for medicine, which is then sold on the street and worse. And this is one of the most significant challenges that we are working to address at this point in time.
If a disabled woman with visible or invisible disability wishes to get more involved in the community, what is their key starting point?
Disability Action has a very active women's group that meets online weekly. This is a really good space for people to join in and start their process of becoming involved in activism and community development. The women's group places craft at the centre of activism and really focuses about how using your mind and creativity can inform, political activism and assist in working towards change. We're really conscious that we can't do this alone, so we work in partnership with women's centres across the region, where we work together to ensure that disabled women can participate fully in community development. For example, 2 former participants of our women's group are now completing qualifications in a women's centre in Belfast, and we're just delighted to see them continue on their journey. Within Disability Action, our door is always open to new women. You can reach out to me personally. The details are on our website. Just do a simple Google search, and our door is always open. We've loads of materials, toolkits, and information that we can provide you with to start your journey on the route to securing change for disabled women.
Looking forward, what more needs to be done to ensure disabled women have a seat at the table and included in all spaces?
This is probably our most significant challenge. Our society isn't organised in an inclusive manner. Disabled women are still locked out of political decision making. We only have one woman in our assembly who defines as disabled that we are aware of, and we really would love to see more disabled women represented in electoral politics. In other parts of the UK, disabled people have access to an election budget, which is designed to remove barriers to engaging in political activity. We have never had that. Um, if we did, that might remove some of the barriers that could better involve disabled women in decision making. But we have to be really, really honest. 9 out of 10 disabled people told us that buildings and transport is not accessible to them. If we don't have accessible buildings and accessible transport and dignified toileting options, then we're always going to lock disabled women out of spaces. I'm very proud to say that working together with the wider women's sector, disabled women's voices have been heard in ways that they weren't before. Misogyny infiltrates all parts of our society, and that includes disability. And by working together with women, we have found that amplifying voices works really well. So we'll continue to reach out to our partner organisations and to work together to remove the significant barriers that persist.